For news beyond the game, it's Frontier News.
There has been a flurry of activity. In 1 week since launch, the various hot fixes and the patch, and maybe another little patch, have hundreds of fixes listed between them. It is an enormous list, although they haven't yet solved the most difficult issues. There's obviously a lot of work going on in the dev teams. Here's a quick rundown with just a sampling of the fixes in each one. And I'll point out too that in our show notes we've got links to every one of these patch notes if you want to dig into it. So it started on Thursday, May 20th. Hotfix 1, stability, keybindings, crash fix, suit thermal resistance, Pioneer supplies, inventories fixed, elevator messaging, and a tip about deleting your graphics settings. Which, if you haven't done that, a lot of people, including myself, are seeing good results with that, where you basically just delete your graphics subdirectory within the Elite Dangerous subdirectories, and it'll reform it for usually better results. Friday, May 21st, that was the second hot fix. Again, more stability, maglock, cutting thin lockers. There was a nerf to the G3 AR-50 headshot damage. Some weapon skins and livery. Tuesday, May 25th was Hotfix 3. More stability. They reported fixing the Apex shuttle infinite loop. This is where people would get stuck in the shuttle and FDev would have to rescue them. Removing Colonia missions from the mission board. And a Plainsman scarf glitch, so a cosmetic fix. Then the big patch on Thursday, May 27th. Odyssey update 1.0. Huge list, a lot of audio fixes, gear preview glitch, reload soft lock, fixing shadows in exploration, some lighting, lots of lighting fixes, visual improvements to biologicals. There was a number of things that mentioned fixing, they used the word occlusion in a number of places, although I don't think this was the overall main fix for culling, which we'll talk about later. And apparently some occlusion fixes and settlements as well. And then there was like another sort of quick little update later that same day. I don't know if this was like another patch. They're sort of saying a minor update, hotfix 4. Not sure what it was. There was only one item in it, though, which was a fix for a loadout section of the roll panel persisting. And then on top of all that, apparently there was another update specifically for Steam, people playing through the Steam platforms. So one other thing, we don't know when this came in, but it was a great change. Whereas before, in terms of materials within Odyssey, the data category materials was the cap on it for what you could carry was as low as 100. Now you can hold up to 1,000. So that was a nice fix there. I'd like to pause here to get some thoughts from the whole group about what we think about all of this flurry of patch activity and hotfix activity that's happened in the last week. Good, bad, otherwise, and where this might take us. Tweaked, let's go to you first.
Well, as much as we can rail on FDev for rushing this out, and again, it's not the developers that wanted to push it out so quickly. I think we all realize that at this point. You got to give them props for putting in the overtime and busting their you-know-whats to get so many patches out so quickly. I mean, they're working furiously right now. Props to the devs.
Okay. King Raz.
I want to just say I will give props to them being consistent with their updates, working hard, and listening to the community. However, they released the game at $40.
Yep.
As a finished product.
Yep.
They should have waited until it was completely optimized. My first experience when I first got Odyssey, the frame rate drop when I first landed on a planet was horrendous. It killed my experience almost instantly.
Yep.
And I couldn't pick it up until the next update.
Right. Good point. Will?
This feels like an MMO. I think anybody who's been with Elite, longer than since Fleet Carriers knows that this is kind of the, this is the future we can look forward to. I think what's there is going to be great if we stick it out. The one thing that I'm concerned about, however, is, with the way that they're getting just shellacked in the media and the new player base that may not be used to such an unfinished product, that it might damage initially the the rise in new players. But again, like the same thing with Cyberpunk or something like that. If you know anybody who tried it out and just took a pass, wait a couple months till things get figured out. And tell them to come back and try it out, because it's going to be something really special. Just wait and see.
Kai?
Yeah, screw the suits. They deserve a pop in the fucking mouth for this. For the devs that are working so hard to try to make this right, my heart goes out to you. You guys are the real heroes who are sort of killing yourselves to try to atone for someone else's sin. And I feel really, really bad for you. And again, screw the suits. And I agree that the problems that people are going nuts about today, i.e. crashing and culling and all of that stuff, those will be fixed greatly in 30 days and even more so in 60 days. And I think they'll be a complete thing of the past in 90 days. My problems and concerns are sort of a whole other list of things that we'll get to in the future. But love the devs, screw the suits.
All right. King Raz.
What I'm really having an issue with is the double material grind that we have to do anything with the suits or the weapons. Having to grind out the material for the suits to initially get them, and then engineering them on top of that.
Yeah, both good points. I guess on one hand, I would love to see this pace of hot fixes and patches continue. Of course, with some what do we say, consideration for the developers' sort of work-life balance.
Here.
But as long as they're as long as they're being given the resources and the focus, the priority to continue working on this, I guess we'll see what we'll see. But it's a good start. Hopefully they're not working people to the point where people are going to get burned out. So that, there needs to be some consideration for that too. Okay. So there's been some. Let's talk about the streams. Tweaked, you want to chime in on the two streams that happened this week? Was there anything anything there?
Sure. We had two streams, as we always do. They almost always stream every Tuesday and every Thursday, if you guys don't know. Tuesday's stream had Arthur, Sally, Bruce, Zach, the usual crowd, plus Kai. I don't know if you know the other guy's name. I'm not familiar with who the other guy was there. Really, they didn't talk a whole lot about much of anything, except for a couple of points that they did bring up. They're, of course, aware of all the bugs, how rocky of a release it's been, and they're really focusing on optimization, but they wanted to point out that they can't collect the information about everybody's optimization issues through the normal bug tracker. So they created a different thread in the forums for you guys to all go, and girls, for all you commanders to go into the forums, find that thread and report your issues with optimization so they can try to get to the bottom of this and make some progress on making that better. So I think that's pretty important. Other than that, that's about all that we really got out of the Tuesday stream.
Will, did you have a point about the stream?
I just want to know what the over/under is on who's on the chopping block there with the odd man out there with the community liaisons. I didn't know if you guys still have an inter-office betting pool on that.
Well, I wouldn't wish unemployment on anybody in that fine team, but I think we noted some weeks ago that there was some moves that looked like it was increased in size, and it had happened in the past slightly before someone got repositioned to a different team. So that could be what's going on. I don't have any bets on who it is, though. I don't know if Kai, you have any thoughts on that, or maybe we don't even comment on that. Tweaked, you had a point?
Well, I would say I don't believe it's any of the community managers. They're doing their job. They're giving us the info that they're allowed to give us. So really it all goes back to the corporate shills at FDev right now that are making all the decision.
How about Thursday's stream, Tweaked?
Thursday's stream was a little less informative than Tuesday's. That was just Zach and Sally. They played some Elite Dangerous, but we did get one key thing out of that stream, I think, and actually, thanks to our very own Kaizen, Zach called out Elite Week Kaizen, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the first time they acknowledged that they are aware that the Planet Tech is not working properly. And I'm pretty sure that's the first time we've heard that from anybody at FDev. So that's good to hear that they're aware of that at least.
Nice. Also involving the CM team, we saw recently on the Flight Assist podcast, Arthur Tolmie confirmed that the recent event of the Oracle station falling out of orbit, to paraphrase, is a prematurely released feature, not a bug. Kai, you want to jump in on that?
100%. We've got the link in the show notes. You can see the 60-second long clip of Art saying it word for word. And he dances around it because, you know, there's things that he's not supposed to say on a stream, and I'm sure this was one of them. But basically what he admits is that the stations were meant to crash, but then when the servers were crashing, they decided, oh, we should probably put a pause on this part of the story. We'll get back to it in a couple of weeks, but right now we got to deal with servers being on fire. He literally said everything was on fire in the little clip there. And after we get this all sorted out, then we'll go back to sort of continuing that storyline. So I would strongly suspect that we're going to see at some point in the not too distant future a storyline event where Thargoids attack and bases are crashing down to planets. And I think that Frontier is not stupid enough to make it a thing where it's an event where we're running around on the planet picking up stuff. I think it's going to be more an event that both console players and PC players can take part in, where it's going to be something we have to do to stop the stations from crashing in the Horizons universe. I hope that they're not dumb enough to just take a massive dump on a huge section of their population.
Will, you wanted to chip on this?
Yeah, so you know, I think that there's been these kind of arbitrary, this person or this person for a lot of these CGs. Sometimes you get a double engineered module or something. I'd like to see a no-win situation. For example, if say there were some like Guardian artifacts that were on the station, while it's falling out of orbit, if you had to make the determination whether or not to evacuate residents of the station, or scoop up as many of those Guardian artifacts, something like that, where raise the stakes to a point where you're not going to burn the bubble or anything, but at the same time, having to make these kind of life or death choices where there's no easy solution would be nice.
Something with some real drama. Tweaked, you get the last point in this, then we'll move on.
Sure. I just kind of feel like, and I believe that they know they're not going to do something now with the storyline that only PC players can partake in. But if this is a feature that was set now when originally we all were going to have Odyssey, what if this is a feature that 6, 8, 9 months, whenever console gets Odyssey, this starts happening? What if they do fall all the way to the planet? What if this is how they introduce on the ground Thargoids to us? Some pew-pewing with the bugs. That'd be a fun story.
Yeah, seeing the hulk of a station on the ground, like the Star Destroyer after the Battle of Jakku in the sand or something. That'd be pretty awesome.